Welcome back to ABC News Live. Special coverage of the Democratic National Convention here in Chicago. Kamala Harris made history 4 years ago when she became the first black woman elected on a major party presidential ticket. It was a victory brought on by black Americans, mostly black women. Matter of fact, black women were actually considered the Democratic Party's most loyal bloc, with about 90% voting for President Biden over Trump. Now, black women see an opportunity to send a woman who looks just like them to the White House. Joining me now, Jotaka Eaddy, founder of Win with Black Women, a network of black women leaders across the country. Boy, it's not just the music moving your groove right now, is it?
There's a whole lot moving right now. It's just a lot of good feelings. The energy is high in this arena, and we have how many more hours before we get started tonight?
Not many more. Let me tell you, it's moving fastly. Speaking of moving quickly, this happened boothing. Is that right? Okay, there's not a better song to get the party going.
I know,
Sorry,
right?
I had to pause for a moment. He put that song out on, I guess, YouTube, and it had such a great beat. The next thing you knew, he was hitting the charts.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, let's get down to serious business now. Kamala Harris, did you, just at how fast this went, your feeling, I mean, we talked about black women love Joe Biden, love Kamala Harris, but are you okay? Are black women okay with the way that she got on this ticket? The fact that she didn't get a vote, that it happened because her boss stepped aside and she was the one put in that place. Is that okay when you talk about making history?
It's absolutely okay. She earned her way to the top of this ticket. She was on the ballot throughout the entire primary process. It was Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden. She got all of those votes. And when President Biden, and black women thank President Joe Biden, he's always seen us from the very beginning. Every promise made, President Joe Biden has kept that promise to black women. And when he made the decision, black women were in support of him. We had signed a letter. 8,000 black women had signed a letter saying that we support you, President Biden, if you make a decision that when you make that decision, it's your decision. And when he made that decision and he decided that he was going to endorse his governing partner for the last 4 years, Vice President Kamala Harris, black women were overjoyed. We were excited about that, not just because of the history of it, but she's a proven leader. She's been district attorney, she's been attorney general, she's been United States senator, and she's been vice president of the United States. And what black women would say is one of the administrations that has put forth policies that affected our communities in ways that have changed our lives and impacted our lives, that we could say we want to see more of this in President Kamala Harris.
What more do you want to say? You say black women love Joe Biden, okay? But there are voters that say they also want to see Kamala Harris sort of disassociate herself from a number of things Joe Biden has done and become her own woman and change policy. So what do black women want to see from Kamala Harris that they haven't seen yet?
I think we want to see what Kamala Harris is doing exactly right now. She is stepping out there. She is expanding the party in ways that we have never seen before. We see so much unity. We see so much excitement, all behind Vice President Kamala Harris. We've seen the policies that this administration have put forth. She's already come out with a strong economic plan. I think we're going to see more of that in the days to come, more of the policies that she's putting forth. But she is going to take this country further. I believe that we have to remember that President Biden was working with an obstructionist Senate, and we did not have the House of Representatives. And so they did as much as they can. And I think now we are positioned, this entire map is open up in ways, the excitement in this country, that I think that we could look at a November where Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the White House.
Well, speaking of surprises, last night we got a surprise appearance from Oprah Winfrey, and she highlighted the legacy of the civil rights pioneers, the New Orleans Four. Let's take a listen.
But it was the grace and guts and courage of women like Tessie Prevost Williams that paved the way for another young girl who 9 years later became part of the second class to integrate the public schools in Berkeley, California.
What does that mean to Black women?
It means so much. Oprah Winfrey herself is just a pioneer. I think that when everyone saw her last night, it was just riveting. You could feel the energy in the room. But what Oprah spoke to is just the legacy that everyone is feeling right now. 60 years ago today, Fannie Lou Hamer came to the Democratic National Convention, and she asked to be seated. She asked for credentials, and she was denied. Here we are 60 years later, and tonight we will witness Vice President Kamala Harris accept the nomination to be the first Black woman president of the United States. We've come a long way. We think about Shirley Chisholm. We think about every single Black woman who is not in a history book. I'm getting emotional, and I think we've been emotional all day. I think about my own grandmothers. I think about my mother. I think about Black women who fought in this country knowing that they would never see this day, but they believed that it would be here. And it is an honor. It is an honor for all of us to be here, to be the ones to help usher that in. And we have an obligation to make sure that we cross the line. And I think that's why we're going to see Black women work hard between now and November to make sure that we're registering voters, that we're turning out voters, because we are built on a legacy of women who paved the way for us, knowing they wouldn't see this day, but they knew that we would be here for this day.
Well, I'll tell you what, if she does win the White House, I sure hope I see you working alongside her. Jotaka, thank you, really.
Thank you.
What a pleasure.
Thank you.